Do you ever find yourself as a mom saying, I want something that is just mine? I remember feeling this when I had my when I had all my kids, really. I don't think it really hit me until a few kids in. And I remembered looking at my husband one day and I was like, I just want something that is just mine. I really want something that is just mine, that I can call mine, that my kids don't touch. Because I think something that we don't realize is when we have kids, we sacrifice a lot. We really do. And what I didn't realize at the time is we don't have to lose ourselves in motherhood. I was told, so I got pregnant at 18, and I was told by somebody very, 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 very close to me that you are now a mom. It is your job to take care of everyone else. Forget that dream life that you have been dreaming of living. Forget the dreams that you had. Your job is to now be a mother. And I lived and died by that advice for way too long. I completely lost myself in motherhood. And I remember this point distinctly. I can't remember if it was after our second or our third. I think it was after our third. And I remembered looking at my husband, and it's usually about the time that I'm ready to be done nursing. So I nursed all my babies until a year. One of them was a super easy nurser. So I think I nursed her till like 14 months. But I remember looking at my husband and I was like, I just want my body back. I just want to feel like me. I just want my body back. And I think that this is something that we don't realize in motherhood, that we get to create it however we want it to look. And yes, a newborn is needy. Don't get me wrong. It is not easy. But I wish something that I would have learned a little bit sooner was that I could put systems in place and support in place for myself that would have made it feel all better, because I became the mom who was overwhelmed and frustrated. I was snapping at my kids all the time. They I felt overwhelmed, I felt overstimulated, and I was over it. Like, I was so done. And it wasn't until I hit my breaking point a few kids in that I realized it could be different. And I want different for you. I want you to realize now, maybe you don't have kids yet. Maybe you do. And you're like, wait a second, it can be different. Yes, it gets to be how we design it to look. And the thing that saved everything for me, I didn't realize I had been doing this from such a young age, and an infantry level motherhood that I was in. I was like a baby having a baby, little infant mom, new mom. I didn't realize that I was putting systems in place. I started putting systems in place. I remember because um, we had her, and she was the first grandbaby on one side, not the first on the other. But grandma and grandpa were buying toys and clothes and pajamas and all of these things, and it was mostly toys. And I get it, like, they're excited, they've got a new grandbaby, and that's great. But whoa, was my house getting overwhelming. It was so overwhelmed with toys and just shit everywhere. And I was like, I cannot keep living like this. And so I had to put some boundaries in place. And I know a lot of times we don't realize, we think, oh my gosh, but they're going to like be mad at us. And that's fine. That's fine if you're feeling that way, because that's how I felt. It took me a very long time to finally decide, like, no more. And so, anyways, so toys coming in, I was super overwhelmed. My house was out of control. I was the shittiest cook on planet Earth. Like, I was such a bad cook at the beginning of our marriage. And so I'm trying to take care of everybody else. I'm trying to cook a meal for my family. I knew how to make tacos and I knew how to make tuna casserole, and that was about it. Whenever I branched out and tried making something different, I usually ruined it. It wasn't cooked all the way. Or one time I tried cooking sausages and I like crispy fried one side, flipped it over, crispy fried the other, didn't even think about the middle cooking. And I was like, they're done. And my husband's like, no, they're not. And so we're just trying to survive at the beginning. And when we have these kids, then suddenly we're nursing if you're choosing to nurse, or maybe you can't nurse and you're like bottle feeding. And so your time now becomes your child's and like you're on their schedule. And then they get a little bit older and they're like running around and they're in your stuff and they're in your makeup drawer and they're like trashing everything, right? And you hit this point and you're like, I want something that is just mine. You absolutely get to have that. And here are a few tips I'm going to give to you so that you can come back now that I just told you a whole rambling of stories. But I want you to come back to you and be like, what do you want motherhood to look like? If you don't have kids, kind of think about, what do you want motherhood to look like? It might not turn out exactly that way. Motherhood's a little wild in the beginning, but you get to hold the focus for what you desire to create. And you get to do that before you ever have kids. And if you have kids and you're like, holy shit, my life is out of control, I have something for you. I am launching Mom Life Mastery. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Cart opened yesterday and the cart will close on Tuesday. So if you do want into that program, reach out. I'll drop the link to it below if you want to read about it. But this is who it's for. It is for the mom who's overwhelmed and frazzled and frustrated. And you were like, I want something that is just mine. I have lost myself. I want to find myself again. You have mom guilt creeping in and you're not showing up as the mom that you want to be. Maybe you pictured yourself showing up as a certain type of mom, maybe the fun mom, and now you're just trying to survive your days and you're snapping at your kids because they're not listening and you're feeling naggy. This is for you. But the tips that I have for you is like why you are not where you want to be is one, you're in survival mode. You are in survival mode. You have not intentionally created your motherhood. We have to intentionally create our lives. We have to intentionally show up. We have to intentionally create. And if we are not doing that because now we're in survival mode and just trying to like make it through and get by, and our head hits the pillow at night and you're like, what on earth have I got done? And the house is still a mess. And you're like, okay, I am done with this. Well, that's kind of why, is because you're living in survival mode. And so that's why you've been unable to get yourself out of any of the habits and patterns. And maybe you try to like implement a new little house cleaning schedule and it just doesn't stick. Well, it's like you have to shift your identity into I am a woman who. This is where breath work comes in and is so, so powerful to help you shift your identity. But we have to start shifting our identity into who are you? What kind of life do you live? How do you show up? And we start to create that. And then systems and strategies go into place. Boundaries are huge. You have to learn how to set boundaries. I have a simple way that I teach in my program. I can't go that deep here, but boundaries are so powerful. And I think a lot of us are really afraid to set boundaries because we're afraid that somebody else is going to be upset when we do. But boundaries are so life-giving. They protect your inner peace. So if you're wanting to bring more peace into your life, you have got to set boundaries so that you have more inner peace. You know how you're showing up, you know what you're getting done, and you never like end your day and are like, oh my gosh, did I even get enough done? It's like you just know. You just know that you did. And so boundaries, and if other people get mad when you set boundaries, just know that they benefited from you not having any. And so you are basically people pleasing to keep them happy, but it was draining you. And this is why you're not showing up as the mom that you want to be, is because you don't have the boundaries, you don't have the systems, and you're not showing up as a woman who identifies as she's living the life that you desire to live. You're not identifying as her. And so we want to shift that. That is what Mom Life Mastery does. I give you the systems so that you become the authority of your life, your way, your rules, you decide. And a lot of times we also don't change things because we're afraid of judgment. We fear the judgment that other people are going to think. Like it should be done this way, right? Should be done this way. And so then we're afraid of like the opinion that our mom's going to insert into our lives, or our sister or whoever. And so we don't do anything, but then we just like suffer silently, throwing ourselves under the bus, showing up as a mom who's completely overwhelmed, so tired, and just ready for things to be different. Things get to be different. Your kid deserves the best mom that you can give your kid, and you can do that. And so I just want you to start to really think about living that life that you desire to live and having something that is just yours. Again, this is like boundaries with our kids. I have set boundaries with my kids from a very young age. Like, you learn so much in this program, and that's like not the whole thing I'm talking about, is just the program. But this is what I teach in my main program, and this is why. Because if you want to regain that sense of self, if you want to have something that is just yours, you have to create it. You have to be intentional about it. You have to feel good about what you desire. And we have to stop judging the things that we desire. We have to stop judging our desires. Why are we judging them? If it is placed in your heart, it is for you. You deserve to have it. You get to have it, but you are the only one who can also create it. And I am the one who helps you create what you desire to live in your life, who you desire to be, how you desire to show up as a mom. I give you all the systems, all the tools, and I help you become the authority of your life in every area of your life. And so if you are ready to like rewrite your rules, live life your way, and truly step up and become the woman who lives that life, this is for you. I am speaking directly to you because I suffered silently in motherhood, in my marriage for many, many years, and I do not want that for you. I want you to be able to shift out of that so much quicker than I ever did, to stop throwing yourself under the bus. And you cannot mindset your way out of it. So I don't care. I hear so many people that are like, just change your thoughts, change the stories you're telling yourself, change your beliefs around motherhood. You can't always do that. You need the somatic tools that I give you in this program, and that is breath work, my breath work method. We utilize that quite a bit in this program because you can't mindset your way into a life you love. Your body stores it all energetically. And as long as it exists within your body energetically, past experiences, stories, beliefs that you've been holding on to, it's going to exist in your 3D reality, in your life, in the way that you're living. It's going to keep showing up time and time again until we release it through the breathwork method. And so hit me up. I'm going to drop a link in the show notes, but this is for the mom who is ready to change your life, to shift everything, to show up as the mom that you desire to be, the woman that you desire to be, the fun mom, living a life that feels really good to you. We're going to drop the chaos and we're going to create systems and strategies and give you the tools that you need so that you create a life that feels calm and peaceful. And when we are creating a life that feels calm and peaceful, there's another little piece that I just want to share with you. Most of the time, we don't create calm and peaceful because chaos is what is familiar. This is where the breath work comes in again. But if you look back at your life, at the way that you were raised, how did the house feel? Was it a little chaotic all the time? Was it overwhelming? Did your mom seem overwhelmed all the time? You will recreate that in adulthood because it's familiar to your brain. And again, the brain is wired for survival, not for joy, not for happiness. It is wired strictly for survival. And so familiar equals safe to your brain. So if you grew up in a chaotic household where your mom seemed overwhelmed all the time, maybe you were constantly running around, never feeling like you were getting anything done, maybe you felt like you wanted more attention, I don't know, whatever it is, you're going to recreate that pattern right now because that's where your brain is comfortable. This is why this program is so powerful too, is because it's going to help you step out of that. It's going to help you really get calm and feel good in peace and in quiet and dropping the mom guilt and making time for you. So ready to change your life? Let's freaking go. Click the link in the show notes. I will stop rambling here, but you are in full control of your life and what you create, and I am here to help you do that. And I will talk to you next time.